Look who's back. Here he is, by popular demand. My millions of followers have been waiting for this latest video. I know. I mean, literally on the last video, I think I got 2 comments. I mean, I was inundated with messages. I couldn't keep up, you know. But look, it's your lucky day. I'm back. And before we get into today's video, which is going to be about Dani Carvajal, I did say on my last video I wanted to show you some footage of Xabi Alonso. And here we go. Look at him in training here. Look at the passion, the enthusiasm. We've been linked with a lot of deep line playmakers. I don't know why Xavi couldn't just do a Ruud Gullit maybe and be player manager for a season. He looks fantastic. And if you're a fan of another club, you know, if you're a Man City fan, maybe Barca fan, certainly Atletico Madrid under Simeone, I think Arteta's like this under Arsenal. If you're a fan of these clubs, you're probably used to your managers getting involved in training, really coaching the players, showing enthusiasm. We just had 4 years of Carlo, and I love the guy, don't get me wrong, we should always be thankful for what he's done, but it's a different vibe under Xavi, and he looks like he's really getting involved in the training. I've talked about how I am worried about next season, about the fitness levels. The players have had no real time off this summer, so I'm not sure if they can sustain it, but if they can, we could be in for an exciting brand of football next year. But let's get into today's video then, and I wanted to talk about the legendary Dani Carvajal. Now, I really do think Dani Carvajal has been the best right back of the last decade. I do believe that. I like to think that I'm a fan that's relatively objective. Of course, I am biased. I would not deny that. But I like to think I can be fair. For example, before we get into the positives of Carvajal, let's talk about the negative. The number one most frustrating thing about Dani Carvajal. I think he's a bit soft. I think he dives, and I don't like that quality in players. It's the most annoying part of modern football is how soft and how much the players cheat. It's one of the reasons I really hated Barcelona for many years and still do. But you know, they once had a team with Neymar, Suarez, Busquets, Dani Alves, just cheat after cheat. And of course, like to think I'm objective enough to realise we also had cheaters in Real Madrid as well. Sergio Ramos. He was a very soft player. He has the image of a hard man, but he used to fall over all the time at the slightest of contact. I hated his actions in the Champions League final against Juventus when he got Cuadrado sent off. Already 3-1 up as well. Absolutely no need to do that, and he got him sent off. So I don't like that. And Carvajal, unfortunately, does like to exaggerate contact, and it's the most negative thing about him. But I like to think I can be fair with that, and now I can get into the positives and why I think he's a truly generational player and one of the best right backs I think Madrid are ever going to see, for sure. Back 10 years, of course, we are in the year 2015. And in 2015, we saw the kind of end of the previous generation, the end of the legends of the last generation, the Philip Lahm, the Dani Alveses. There's more than one Alves? No, singular. Dani Alves. And of course, even though I am biased, it would be hard for me to say Carvajal would be better than those guys. I think he's in the conversation, don't get me wrong. I think he's absolutely legendary, but I would concede to those guys. But, of course, they only played a few seasons in the last decade, so Carvajal's career outweighs those guys completely over what they've done in the last 10 years. So who are we comparing him to? We're comparing him to maybe Hakimi. We're comparing him to Trent Alexander-Arnold. I always thought Joshua Kimmich. I'm not a Bayern fan. I don't watch Bayern that much, so maybe Bayern fans can tell me. But I always thought he was a better right back than he was a midfielder. I have to say, yeah, I thought he was fantastic. But I think the player we really think about when talking about right backs over the last decade is Kyle Walker. Now, if we have a look at their statistics, and I don't really like to go into statistics too much because I think they can omit a lot of data, a lot of context, you know. I mean, you know, when we see Dani Carvajal's stats here, he's played 427 games, 14 goals and 65 assists. Not too dissimilar to Kyle Walker. But of course, you know, who were these goals against? You know, what kind of assists were they? I mean, you know, if you pass the ball to Ronaldo and then he beats 3 players and scores a goal, that classes an assist. But, you know, so I just want to show you the statistics there, but I don't want to dwell on them too much. And the eye test, this is much more interesting for me. So I would admit that Kyle Walker beats Carvajal when it comes to the physical presence. I mean, he's a bigger guy, of course, but also I don't think Carvajal strikes fear into opposing wingers the way Kyle Walker does. I think Kyle Walker has probably been the best right back in terms of shutting down opponents and putting an idea into the opposing winger's head that you're not getting past me today. I don't think Carvajal quite has that fear. It's true. I've seen Carvajal get beat a few times. I've seen Mbappe tore him up, for example. So it is true. I think in terms of physical presence on the pitch, Kyle Walker wins. But I think Carvajal wins in so many other areas. First of all, his passing. I think his passing is criminally underrated. He quite often, when he gets the ball, he's looking to create something. He's looking to play balls in over the top. He's looking to play forward. Kyle Walker, I think, plays safe way too often, and I'm sure that's partly because of his instructions from Guardiola. But I think Carvajal's a much bigger threat. When I see, or when I think about, for example, the goal we scored in the Champions League final against Juventus, Ronaldo's goal from from Modric's cross, that started from Carvajal playing the ball into Luka Modric. When I think about him scoring a beautiful goal where he runs through about three guys in the Super Cup final and scores that great goal. Again, that's him trying to create something. He's always looking for that, and with his passing, he has a great range of passing. His first touch as well. I mean, I think it's highlighted even more now when we see someone like Fran Garcia, who just looks so shy and so nervous every time he touches the ball. Carvajal has a calmness and such a beautiful first touch that allows him to just slow the game down, speed the game up whenever he wants. He does really control the game from that right side. I do believe that. Of course, when we talk about goals, I mean, obviously the first goal that comes to mind is the Champions League final header, of course. A beautiful, I mean, for a guy that small as well, to get that kind of jump, I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. I remember a beautiful volley he scored where it kind of the ball bounced up and he hit it with his left foot. He started in the last few years, a real tragedy that he got injured last season, because I think he was really becoming an absolute boss of a right back before he got injured. I really pray he can get back to what he was, because he was starting to dominate games and really take control. He also has such a great tenacity when he defends. He really puts his all into defending. Sometimes he overcommits, but he has a great ability of even if a player beats him, getting back in again and making a tackle, making a block, making an interception. He reads the game very well, and he knows when to press and when to drop off. His IQ is fantastic. I just don't really know anything he lacks, apart from height. I have seen him get beat, of course, in the air, but all defenders get beat in the air at some point. If the cross is good enough, sometimes you just can't defend it. Another underrated ability as well, maybe, that he has is his mentality. I mean, he's a player that never gives up on a pitch, and that really feeds into a team. I think that's an underrated ability, that something maybe you can't measure, but when you see how much success and how many trophies he's won over the last decade, that's not just luck or that he's in a good team. He's a big part of it, because his strong mentality and his willingness to constantly make overlapping runs, to constantly break up the opposition attacks before they develop. He really puts a shift in for the team, both offensively and defensively. So his work rate, I suppose, and his tactical awareness is really fantastic, I believe. And he just has a tenacity about him when he defends. He gets beat, of course he does, but if he gets beat, he doesn't stop running. He tracks back, and I think the opposite of what a lot of Liverpool fans criticise with Trent Alexander-Arnold, where he looks a little bit lackadaisical, if I can use that word, that fancy word. He doesn't look like he really cares about defending, whereas I think Carvajal has got a passion for defending. He doesn't like getting beat, and he's a captain, he's a leader, and that mentality to win, I think, is a really strong quality. And of course, he's taken that into the national team as well, and the success he's had, winning the Euros. I believe he was the captain of the Spanish national team that just won the Euros last year as well. So again, another great accolades that you can put onto his career. To summarise, I suppose, then, this Dani Carvajal appreciation video, I think we're truly going to miss him. He's the best right-back I've ever seen play for Real Madrid. I used to love Michel Salgado. I actually went in 2009 to Real Madrid to watch Salgado's testimonial game at the Bernabeu. But it's no doubt in my mind Carvajal is the best right-back I've seen. I really hope he can get back to his level, and he's still got a few more years left in him. I think we're going to miss him truly when he leaves, because replacing him, obviously we've now signed Trent, but it's yet to be seen if Trent's going to have the kind of impact Carvajal is. Certainly attacking-wise, Trent could match Carvajal, but I don't know if defensively he's going to have the same impact. And I don't know if we're going to see a player like him. I don't think Bayern Munich have ever truly replaced Philipp Lahm. Obviously, to replace those kind of players is very difficult. So yeah, try and convince me in the comments if you can that he's not been the best right back of the last 10 years, and I shall see you on the next one.